Kenya has today joined the rest of the world in celebrating the World Environmental Day that is celebrated on the 5th of June every year. To commemorate the steps different organizations and partners have taken to conserve and preserve the environment for a better conducive living area. With this year's theme, Land Restoration, Desertification, Drought and Resilience, Kisumu County Deputy Governor Dr. Matthew Owili, who graced the occasion as the chief guest, said it is important for everyone to make sure the environment is conserved, as it is never a one-person responsibility. He added that Kisumu County administration has been at the forefront of conservatory approaches to help green the city and build capacities towards the restoration of our clean environs.
Where this occasional ceremony is celebrated every 5th of June across the world, and Kisumu, as part of the global village, cannot be left behind. This day gives us an opportunity to reflect on the state of our environment and take stock of gains made in conservation campaigns, especially in improving the forest cover to address the worsening global warming. In his speech marking the World Environment Day, the UN Secretary General Antonio lays out some hard-hitting truths about the risks to people. Everywhere where we face undeniable environment challenges, we witness as a result of climate crisis. He addresses what companies and countries, particularly the much developed nations, the so-called G7 and G20, need to do in the short term to protect our shared future. On this day, we need to reflect on what we must do to avert the worst impacts of climate change and preserve a livable planet. As the UN General Boss says, we must all fight environment practices that will result in global warming, whose impact affects the population in every part of the planet, including the urban centers such as the one that we live in, and some of the remotest villages in the county of Kisumu. The time to save our environment is running out, because with every additional increment of global warming and climate changes, the risks become worse. We in Kisumu tested the sad and painful effects of climate change when massive floods marooned parts of our counties, displacing thousands of people, destroying homes, and sweeping away livestock and acres of crops. Specifically, the backflow from the Lake Victoria, which has adversely affected villages in Nyando, Kadibo, Kisumu Central, and Seme sub-counties, is a clear warning that we are yet to see the worst of climate changes.
On the same note, Miriam Paulette, who is the manager at Kisumu Environmental Champion under the campaign of Let Lake Victoria Breathe Again, used the platform to explain the milestone they have made to make sure the community conserve the environment. She urged the government to support the organizations that promote and help in educating the public on the importance of conserving the environment.
Today we are celebrating World Environment Day at Kachok Dam site, where it has been reclaimed to be Baby Pendo's park. We are so happy because we planted 30 trees and we are yet to plant more. This is just to symbolize the day, because today's theme is desertification and land restoration. And first of all, as climate activists, we usually do a lot of events. Today is just a day to mark the day. But as Kisumu Environmental Champion, we've been doing cleanups. We've been doing climate advocacy by the use of SDG Ball, Climate Clock, which is a tool that was made for innovators.
On her side, Lynetta Chieng, who is a climate activist and innovator, said this day comes at a time when the world is facing crisis as far as climate change is concerned, as being a topic of the day. She said it is high time the national government should take the innovators on climate change serious to help reduce this menace.
Today being the World Environment Day is such a pivotal day in my life as a scientist, because it's a day where we are able to connect with the local community and create awareness of what the World Environmental Day encompasses. So the theme of this year's World Environment Day is we are creating land restoration, desertification, and also we are also highlighting the importance of water access. So one of the things that are supposed to be discussed on this important day is we are trying to reclaim our healthy lands back. So with the current flooding that we just experienced 2 months ago, our healthy lands had been swept away with the floods. And so being World Environmental Day, we are trying to kind of create awareness of how local communities can restore their healthy lands back. So the point of biochar is very important at this point in our community, because in such an important moment, us as local people, us as Kenyans, we have to understand the importance of going for organic fertilizers before we can also start buying the synthetic fertilizers. So another important thing to step out to talk about is we are also talking about food security as a way of celebrating World Environmental Day, because a healthy land is a land full of produce. So we have to talk about what produce we are producing from the farm. We are also enhancing or trying to create awareness of farmers being educated, being taught how to encompass or how to embrace the short-term crops. So the short-term crops that can mature within 3 months to 4 months, so that we can also curb the issue of food security in our communities. So as a climate activist, again, this is a point in our life that we need to discuss, and we also need to create awareness of the importance of climate crisis on this important day. So flood is also an effect of climate crisis as we're speaking, and so we need to kind of start introducing innovators. We need to start introducing researchers so that we come up with innovative ways of eliminating crises like floods. Again, drought resilience is also one of the themes for this year's World Environmental Day. What are we going to do? What can we do as a people? How do we survive during our drought? As a World Environmental Day, as a climate scientist, I'm really trying to put into place that we need to start educating our community members on coming up with crops that are drought resistant. In that way, we are able to have crops even at the point where it's too dry to cultivate. So another important thing as we celebrate this remarkable day in our field of science is to encourage the government, because the government has really been helping us in this fight. They've encouraged tree planting, which is very important, very, very important, because that is our best way of desertification. I also want to kind of encourage the government, because with the Climate Act for 2023, we saw the government putting up mechanisms for reducing the emissions and also for sustainable development in Kenya. We are really behind the government in this, and as a scientist, I'm just trying to encourage the government to set up laboratories for scientists like us, because we need space and room to carry out our research, because it is the research that we do that is going to solve the problems that we have.
You are watching Media One International, always fast and fast. Like, share, and subscribe.